What's going on, everybody? It's David Palmer, and I'm just talking from my desk. Just got off a bunch of readings today, and I wanted to talk about what it's like to do readings, and how it connects so deeply with astrology and free will. But I really also want to talk about this full moon and how it was a nice trigger point, because, man, we are all going through a lot. When I do readings with people, I see everything, and it's hard to be an astrologer. It's not easy to do this job, believe it or not. Of course, there's a lot of knowledge to know, but there's the raw, real aspect. You know, when you look at somebody's personal chart, you're definitely looking at their whole, spiritual story, their life. And so it's not easy when you see there's going to be a tornado, an earthquake, and a full storm going to hit you all at the same time. That's not easy to talk about. And I've done thousands of readings literally in my life. And if you know me, I come pretty raw and real. There are two different ways to do astrology readings. I think one, there's the astrology reading where you just help the person understand their chart. You describe their personality traits, their characteristics, their chart. Sometimes that could even be their mission. And then there's the whole intuitive astrology reading. And that's what I step more into. What's happening, why it's happening, what's the message from the universe, and how is it affecting you right now? What does the universe have to say? And that's how I do my reading. So, if you want to get a reading from me, I definitely am not the guy to go talk about your natal chart. Now, of course, in the readings, I will totally talk about that. But to me, I feel like people can learn, pick up their chart, get my class, or pick up a book and read their chart. I mean, it's pretty simple. I learned it on my own. I didn't need a teacher. It was pretty awesome and easy. But when it comes to understanding progressions and how it connects with the same transits that are happening and understanding all the big, squares, oppositions that you're going to have and how it's all connecting into the story of your natal chart at the same time, that's where I come into play. And that's what makes it hard to do this job, because I see your characteristics. I see the way that you are. And I also see when it's going to hit hard. I also see when it's going to be great. So when you come see me, it's kind of like this crazy, weird, aspect of myself coming out and being raw and real and attacking the chart from all sides, seeing the future, looking in the past. And I'm kind of like that crazy chess player who doesn't need to look at the board. And as everybody in the world's hitting me up, let me turn this off. I'm like that crazy chess player that can play the game without looking at it, but I could play 15 games at the same time. That's how I am with astrology. I don't need to see it, but I do see it, but I'm able to, do all the planetary understandings in my head. Oh my gosh, that happened in 2002 and 3 when Jupiter was there. Oh my gosh, that happened when Saturn was there, and boom, 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 boom. And I'm able to fastly, without programs, do all that in my head. I don't know, I'm just crazy like that. So when you come get a reading with me, it's going to be precise, and I'm just going to hit you on top of the head. Boom. This is what's going on. This is what the universe is doing. This is great. This is not great. This is why it's happening. This is where it's going. This is where you're evolving. You're not there yet. You're almost there. You're there, and now it's starting to dwindle, and now it's going to, it's a weird journey we're on this life. It really is weird, but it's not easy. It's not easy to tell people the truth sometimes, because our ego wants it to be a certain way. I think ego is not about putting your picture up and how well you put your name. Now, I do that really well, but believe it or not, that's not ego. Ego isn't about how many selfies you take, or, I think ego is about doing whatever you want without paying attention of the repercussions of what the universe wants, what other people want. It's all about just wants and needs. That's all ego is. It's about, I want this and I'm going to get it no matter what. It's not about, ego has been mistaken. And with this South Node on Uranus, I think it's showing people where they're mistaken. Going against this whole typical term of ego is what's putting people in crappy positions. They don't have the strength to do what they want. They're not putting themselves out there they want to. And unfortunately, we live in an Aries-ruled world. Hence, we start the draconic chart, North Node at 0 degrees Aries. It's the start point of the year in astrology. It's the start of the spring. Without an ego this life, you will become zero. I hate to say it. Ego is your identity. It is your strength. It is your ability to define who you are. I don't even know where I got on this tangent about ego, but you know what? When I look at somebody's chart, it's hard if it's right, if it's real, that your ego wanted it to be a certain way and it's not. The universe is doing this for a reason in your life. And I think that free will is an ego thing. I think it's egotistical to think you can get whatever you want. Now that might sound crazy right there. But if you think about it logically, if Jupiter wants to get on the other side of the sun, he has to wait 6 years. He can't jump over the sun and do it. Now, I bet you $1 million Jupiter could if he wanted. I think that we keep thinking that, you know, everything has just fallen into place, but I think everything has control of its free will, of whether it wants to or not. Just the planets are a good example of aligning its free will with the exact cycle of time and this galaxy, and knowing, more importantly, the solar system of, okay, this works when we all do this. When we all do this, we work together. And I think that's what harmony is all about, is when aligning your ego and free will with what another aspect of life, whether that's the universe, another person, a job, or anything, and it all works right, that's balance and harmony. So this is about, in astrology readings, are about aligning whether or not you're using your free will to go with the path that's already been written. And if you're going to sink to that roller coaster that's already perfect, or if you're going to use your free will and go off on this earth and do whatever you want and not pay attention and go play around on the playground for, you know, morning, noon, and night, and not do any of the work that you came here to do. Like, that's how I see ego. I think ego is people who choose to not do the work they already chose to do. And I think that that's where we're at right now in our lives. We have a lot of wants, but you know what? We need to find if it aligns with true harmony in our life. And this isn't about, you know, really, I think people should do their understanding of ego. I think Eckhart Tolle did a great job of bringing ego up and how it can, especially, but I don't think he talks so much about ego. I think he just talks about the ability to see the stillness of the universe and whether or not you can detach from, you know, our mind. I think it's more mental aspects of our ego. But I don't think ego as a whole, you know, is a bad thing. It's, you know, how are you going to know that this is an iPhone? And how are you going to know that this is a Samsung Galaxy Note 4? There's only one way. Ego. You have to know the identities. This is Samsung. This is, you know, whatever. And they publish themselves and they put them out there better than everybody else. So guess what? That's why everybody has these two phones. If you have something else, it's probably whatever. Nobody's like, what's that? Because those egos didn't do it as great. Now, it becomes kind of that's the one thing about Aries. It becomes warriors. It becomes competition. It becomes who does it better? Who's going to win? Aries is all about winning. And, you know, this full moon is highlighting it's important to win, but it's important to win with connecting with the right team member, connecting with the universe, connecting with the right relationships, that you can't win alone right now. You know, you've got to align correctly. And I think that this also highlights people who don't have egos and how without an ego, you can become a zero, not a hero. And that might become difficult. But, you know, getting a reading is a very thing. And I don't talk about me doing readings much. If you notice, I kind of become like a closet reader. I don't publicize it on my readings. I talk about my horoscopes, but I don't really publicize my readings much because, to be honest with you, I don't know if everybody can hang with them. You know, like, I think that you come to me for a reading when you're called. When you're called and you know that you need the real answer, not the bullshit, not the stuff that never gives you the specific answer, that's what I'm about. If you want the real deal, if you want the specific answer to your truth, that's me. No matter how much it is, I'm going to give it to you. And, you know, I had a lot of situations and readings today that were weird. I'm just going to be honest with you. And I think that's why I'm doing this today. I think that you should always come alone, not let other people hear, because if somebody else is in the room, like, it's going to be different. I had a lot of people today who were on the other side in the room, but I can't be as real as I can be when I'm not with the individual, because you know what? It's going to maybe hurt that other person, or to hear the truth, or to hear your own personal story, because maybe their ego wants to be in it a certain way. It becomes a very weird situation. I'm going to be completely honest with you. But, you know, it's an intense thing getting a reading, and I take it very seriously. And that's why I'm more expensive than other people, because you know what? I'm not going to float your boat. I'm not going to just read out of a textbook. I'm going to literally do it like a chess player who can do all the planets in my head. I don't need the computers. I do the computer work, of course, for different things, but I'm able to on the fly. And this is what I forgot to end with. And I'm going to end with this is I get everybody's angels or guides that pop up in readings. They all show up when I'm looking at the chart. And I get the nod if we got the message through, and then I get the no, keep going. So I don't charge people extra if I have to go over. I just, if it's needed, it's needed. I need to, until I have all of your guides satisfied, until all of your angels give me the nod, we're cool. But sometimes I get the whole, oh my gosh, screaming. I get angels screaming at me. They're not listening. We've been trying to get them to understand this for weeks and years. And, you know, I sometimes get guides that are like, don't stop, like push them, like even push me to like break boundaries and levels and say things that I don't want to say, but I have to. Like, your guides are screaming at me. So, you know, it's a weird thing to do this. It's a weird thing. And, you know, I'm proud to say I've done over 1,000 readings. But you know what? I'll tell you, it's a wild thing. And I don't promote it much. And I don't talk about the guides and the angels much on here, because I definitely do the horoscopes, and I definitely try to affect and talk about with all the people. But at the same time, there's a part of me that really wants to let people kind of know again what I'm doing here, because I've focused so much over the last 6 months on horoscopes, because I want to be the horoscope king. I don't think anybody does horoscopes like me, where they're that long and that deep and that intense and hitting spots and doing the evolution. If you have my apps and you get my sun sign horoscopes, I call you out, okay, straight up. And I tell you what's going on based off your sign, not just, Uranus is in your 9th house. This is great for travel. That's not what it's about. Not every Leo on the planet is going to go travel. You know? Like, there's a deeper spiritual evolution in astrology that I focus on much more. And this full moon was a turning point for many people. And it triggered a lot. And I think it triggered things about ego, things about how ego... And I want people to listen. Ego is not bad. I'm going to write the book that ego is not bad. Of course, everybody's going to think that because of the way that I portray myself out there. But you know what? Have them think that. Understand what ego is, and you will master life right now. Having Uranus is a master planet in a master position right now. And with the South Node in it, it's about mastering your ego correctly and knowing about strength and courage. And trust me, knowing your strength, knowing your courage is very important right now to get where you want, and making deep changes and getting out of old patterns. And so this is a very intense time. And I just wanted to bring up some of the things and thoughts that I was going through about my readings and so forth. I know this is already too long, but thanks so much, guys. I hope you had a wonderful full moon. And if you're interested in a reading with me, you can go to my website, inclusiveastrology.com. I never promote them, but if you want one, it's out there. Anyways, I'm booked up for a couple weeks, but it's on there. Thanks so much for all your support, guys. I'll see you later. And Leo back there sleeping, he says later too. Bye.